Welcome to our spontaneous 4th of July presentation. I did this last year in my membership and I thought, why not do it in the Cancer-Free Canine page? Because it's a sketchy holiday for dog owners. And I actually have had some traumatic experiences with my own dogs for 4th of July. And I have invited Peter Ciancarelli to join us, and he can share his tense experiences and how he handled it, as well as Julie Jacobs. And Julie is like a multi-modality canine therapist. She does animal aroma therapy. She's certified Reiki, light therapy, animal communicator. Peter does the Allie's Canine Crew, or it's Allie's Crew now, right? You keep changing the name, Peter.
And to keep you on your toes.
He is the King Harvest canine specialist, as well as always exploring everything holistic to improve his dog's lives, and gives himself in a crazy way to Allie's Canine Crew, Allie's Crew Facebook page. So we refer everybody to Peter because he busts his butt for everyone. So Peter, say hi.
Hey, everybody.
Peter's half the man he used to be. He's lost so much weight, his glasses look big on him. And I'm watching on the live stream. Hello, Angelo. Hello, Christina. It's so good to see you. And Hio. And then we've got anybody who's in the Holistic Animal Insights private membership. You guys can hop on the Zoom if you want. The Zoom link's in the membership. So I made these guys co-hosts. I have a slideshow planned, but I also wanted to allow our guests to also share their experiences. What happened to me and my own dog that spurred this on for today is I was living in Los Angeles and I was married at the time, and we were living in an apartment that had kind of a shaky fence line, and my husband thought I was going to take care of the dog and I thought he was going to take care of the dog, and so I had to actually go to work. He left the door open. The fence had a little hole in it, which became a very, very big hole. My dog ran down some like Culver Boulevard. If you're used to LA, if you know LA, Culver Boulevard is like a freeway. And so he almost got killed, and somebody caught him, recognized him, brought him back to the house, and he did it again. And so by the time I got home, people were screaming at me. My husband was nowhere to be seen because he was a musician and was gigging that night. And we all just dropped the ball on our dog. And our dog had never, ever, ever been reactive. Maybe a little bit, but nothing ever to worry about. We never thought about it. And we almost lost him that night. So this is why I'm doing this event for tonight. So Peter, do you want to introduce yourself and talk about the experiences you've had with Allie?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Ciancarelli. I run along with my awesome admins, including Poppy. She helps out as well when she has time, which I don't know when she does, but you're insane. You're doing so much. You're always live. I love it. And so I run Allie's Crew Facebook page, and it started as a place for people to come for dog cancer support, but then it quickly morphed into just sharing kind of everything I'm doing with Allie, who's no longer with us. She passed last October. Now I have Tucker over here laying on my bed, which I won't show you because it's a mess. And it continues to be a place to share information about all things holistic and integrative therapies for animals, for mainly dogs. And I changed the name to Allie's Crew because it used to be Allie's Canine Cancer Crew, but because I want to include cats in there, and I wanted to take out the word cancer because we do more than that, but also because I felt like there were some groups being targeted that had the word cancer in it, and I wanted to kind of be more invisible and more private. So, because when you put a lot of work into your group, you don't want to risk like having a shutdown for whatever reason. So anyway, I volunteer my time on there, and I also am the canine, the animal specialist for King Harvest Wellness, which is a medical cannabis company based out of California, and we do specialized cannabis oil protocols for critical illness and for dogs, cats, any mammal that nurses when they're young has an endocannabinoid system, and that's what we do. We do personal. So I'm a consultant for them. I tell people what they would need, and then I walk them through the dosing and all that. So tonight I'm going to be talking about my experience with my dog Allie. I haven't had a 4th of July with Tucker yet. I got them in November, but I'm going to be talking about my experience with Allie relating to the 4th of July fireworks and what I've tried and what I've used with her, and what's been successful, and hopefully I can share something that somebody isn't aware of and help somebody. That's my goal for tonight.
Exactly. That's why I brought you on, Peter. You're kind of like me. We try everything.
Mhm.
We're big experimenters. And Julie just got done with a 3-day masterclass training on fireworks. And so I knew that, and I wanted her to hop in and give her expertise, 2 cents in on this. So Julie, tell us what your thoughts are. Have you had problems with 4th of July and your pets before?
I actually have not. For the most part, my dogs have been pretty stable. I had one little one that I remember I was standing on the boardwalk at the beach, and she started panicking, jumping up like to my waist and trying to get in my arms, and then going home was pulling, and I couldn't figure out why. And finally, way, like miles away, 6-7 towns away, I could see this little flash of light, and there were fireworks going on. So I started to realize that, when they sense a storm because of the barometric pressure drop, and with everything being energy and vibration, she could tell that the fireworks were miles away when I had no clue. So I started, going forward, being a little bit more aware. She basically, though, overall was good. I, did a lot of healing techniques and things with her, especially acupressure and essential oils, diffusing or putting on her during storms or fireworks, and she's fine. My other dog was deaf, and some deaf dogs can hear fireworks because they hear energetically again, and it's the vibration and they sense it. But in general, many deaf dogs don't feel it. And, my girl was just like a la la land when there was a firework going on. So that was good. And all my other animals have always been good. So I've been lucky.
Julie, that's amazing. That's actually a really cool story about how far away those fireworks were, and your dog was still vibing that, slightly reactive.
I could not figure it out, nor could anyone else. She was just like in this panic. And I'm looking everywhere. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. And as I was walking home, like about 20 minutes later, I could see him, like I said, miles away, this little flash of light as it was getting a little bit darker out.
That is amazing. We just don't really get it, do we? I mean, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm the only one that just really doesn't understand. It's like the high level of sensitivity. And here's our animals living with us that are totally desensitized and numb to the experience of life and exposures, sound, vibration, and smells, everything, pheromones. So you guys, I'm going to start this slideshow, and then
You have to record.
I am recording.
Did you hit record?
I did when you
Okay,
bolted.
I missed that.
When you
Okay.
bolted, I hit record. And
Okay.
I should have had my Facebook pulled up. I should have pulled up my canvas. So you guys chat while I do this. I apologize. I live on Canva too.
Well, part of what happened with my dog is that, everything around us is energy. Everything is energy. Energy never goes away. It transforms, it changes, it can get escalated, it can de-escalate, but it never goes away. And everything has a vibration, everything has some sense of energy. And all animals, they live by their instincts and their senses. They also communicate telepathically. So they sense the fireworks. They sense what you're thinking about the fireworks. So you're panicking them without even knowing that you're panicking them sometimes. And that might have been part, she probably sensed it's July 4th. People were talking about fireworks and picked up on it. She felt the vibrations, and that's why a lot of the animals in the wild too react, pretty strongly to them, because they come from nowhere. They're like gunshot wounds. A gunshot's going off. They're just all of a sudden, boom, this big bang, and they just go out of body and freak out because they feel the energy, they hear the noise, they don't know what's going on, and they're just living by instincts. They get into fight or flight mode, and that's it. It's all over.
Thank you, Julie. My canvas sticking. My canvas sticking. I prepared this.
I know.
It never has done this before, of course.
What happened?
There we go. I live out in the country.
You have it? Okay.
I have my
Okay, go
Wi-Fi.
She broke. There we go.
She's
Copy.
back.
I have her presentation, so I can screen
I'm
share
back.
it if we have to.
Sorry, you guys. My Wi-Fi is just a hotspot because I live remotely. And so sometimes it's a little too much. And that's why I made my friends co-hosts just in case this happens multiple times. So hopefully it won't.
Do you want me to screen
Hopefully
share?
we can
Do you
get
want me
this
to screen share
presented.
it? Because I doubt.
Let me see if I can. My Wi-Fi is supposed to be really good, but we're sticking. I might have to run outside for this.
Poppy, you want me to screen
Often my
share it
Wi-Fi is
since I
better
downloaded
outside.
it today?
All right, so let me know on the Facebook page if you
There
guys
it is.
can see it. Go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm monitoring the chat at the same time. And Peter, you can too if you want. Julie, also you. So preparing your pets for 4th of July. And that was definitely inspired by my dog who almost lost his life. And disclaimer, I'm not a veterinarian. I cannot diagnose, advise on medication, puncture the skin, or perform surgery. The purpose of this event is to educate and equip proactive pet lovers to prevent stressful situations with their animals or help them recover faster from a negative experience. My title is an animal naturopath, but also probably more like an animal wellness coach. So here's today's agenda. Quick agenda. We're going to try to rip through this pretty fast. So since it was spontaneous, I invited some friends, I don't want to waste their time. So 1, to be prepared, homeopathy, supplements, herbs, flower essences, infoceuticals, essential oils, pheromone, equipment, lifestyle, and post-trauma recovery. So that is on the agenda. So this is my checklist. I love this. I think it's such a good idea. Before the 4th of July, your pre-prep work. So get your pet microchipped. If you don't already have it, make sure the info is up to date. Make sure your ID tags are accurate and on your animal. If you have a GPS tracker associated to your pet, make sure that is charged. Fix any weak areas in your fence line, because I learned that lesson. Stock up on super snacks. Practice with noise desensitizing. So we're a little close to 4th of July, but if you feel like you can create like a friend experience, a fun experience with noises, then do so. Train, make sure your animals aren't gonna like rip your crate in half, or create a safe space in your home. Pet insurance is current. Practice with products and equipment. If you're gonna use it, practice ahead of time. That's my dryer, sorry. And I'm laughing because I always forget that I have a dryer in the house now. My last house had a dryer in the garage. And get a trainer to help. Know your emergency pet care options. Because of COVID, it is really bizarre how hard it is to get your animal to an emergency situation. Often the wait is 4 to 5 hours. Still, I cannot believe that. And so the day of the 4th of July, block your doggy door, stay calm, treat yourself if needed. go on a long walk or hike, have a fun day, exhaust your animals, and maybe even yourself. Start herbs and meds before any issues start, before the anxiety, before the fireworks. Get out of town if your dog's really, really anxious. Play something on TV, white noise, Spotify. Warn and watch your guests who are coming and going. Make sure they don't let your animals slip out the door by accident. Keep your pets indoors early on, and a leash if you have to go outside. Any comments on that, you guys, from our guests, our panelists?
Looks great.
Nothing?
Well, as far as the safe room goes,
So
the
here's
ideal,
some facts, firework facts.
can,
An NIH study found approximately 45 dogs take up to an hour to recover from firework trauma. About 22% of those dogs took up to 1 day. The remaining of the dogs in the study took much longer, and some never normalized. Facts, the next fact is pets go missing during 4th of July. More pets do on that weekend or time because it's on a Monday than any other time of the year. So it's the worst time of year. I have a girlfriend that runs a shelter here in Stockton, and she dreads this day more than any other. Noise aversion is a real condition for cats and dogs. In fact, 40% of dogs develop anxiety as a result of the condition. Signs include excessive panting, pacing, vocalizing more than usual, crouching low, hiding, having accidents in the house, damaging furniture or doors, walls, and attempts to flee. I've even heard stories of animals jumping out of windows. And fireworks can emit sounds up to 190 decibels. The World Health Organization lists 120 decibels as a pain point for human ears. Past 120 decibels can actually cause issues in human ears. So just imagine what it can do for your pets. So there can be damage in hearing loss, tinnitus, and eardrum damage from that. Just kind of insane. And every muscle in a cat's body is primed for kill or to be killed. So it's a whole nervous system is always on alert. That is a quote from Jackson Galaxy. So know that your cat is, when they're stressed, they are stressed everywhere. And lifestyle make a potential stress absolutely fun. Try to incorporate that. I had a dog trainer when I was in LA. She had some noise sensitive dogs, and she would throw things on the ground and make as much noise as possible and just make it fun. Like just turn it into a fun experience and treat them and play with them with the noises going on. Also, you'll see some other options. So desensitizing early on and when they're young, lots of exercise. Dog dancing is a thing. I don't know if any of you are dog dancers, but if you are, I'd love to know about it. I think it's super fun. I would seriously love to dance with my dog. White noise apps and fans, dog music on Spotify, movies, and brain games. So like these little puzzly games, dogs adore that stuff. Well, not all dogs. And then chewing distraction.
Spotify now.
Rodney Habib had this recipe, how to make yak chews, raw bones. Remember to always supervise the raw bones and make sure they're big enough to where, and they're raw, not cooked. So your dog doesn't hurt themselves, get pancreatitis, anything like that. So if you haven't been used to feeding raw bones, you really can't feed them for a long amount of time, but it's a good distraction. Maybe give it to them, pull it away, give it to them later. And also Rodney Habib made this rawhide chew toy being the deadliest toy. If you don't know about that, there's lots of information on the internet about it. All the preservatives, all the dyes going into that, super dangerous. Some dogs swallow them whole and they stay in the stomach a long time. And here's a fun little hack of things you can stuff your Kong with. And you can go from pumpkin to apples and cheeses and yogurts and freeze them and let your dog just eat away. I also use like just raw buffalo, raw bison and things like that. Homeopathy is my jam. I love homeopathy. I see so many good things from it. And here's a quick list that we're not going to talk about every single one, but I'll put the slideshow in the slides actually in the Cancer-Free Canine page, so you guys can flip through it and have these notes. So aconite, argentium, aurum metallicum, borax, gelsinium, nux vomica, phosphorus. I love phosphorus. It's good for all noise phobias. And stramonium is a favorite of mine for heat stroke too. So it's just a good one to have on hand if you have those bracky breeds that are really smashed noses. It's been life-saving for some of my bulldogs. And here's actually how I administer. This is something that I do is with a 30X or a 30C potency on an emergency. I administer, I wait 15 minutes. I administer again. If you see no change, if you have a change, you let your remedy ride. And if you actually see a decline, guess what? You are probably treating your dog for some sort of disease that they might be harboring that you may not have known about. And it's probably doing a great thing there, but it's probably not what you want for that day and that time. So if you need to antidote any of your homeopathic remedies, if you feel like it's a little extreme, the detox off of it, you can just wave a little coffee or essential oils and soften the blow of that remedy. If you see no change, make sure to redose. If you still don't see a change remedies. Go to something else, and you can overlap remedies 5 minutes apart. And then there's supplements like L-theanine, melatonin, GABA, and zilkine. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a dried milk protein, can aid in calming your pet naturally. It is often used effectively in senior dogs with new age-related anxiety. It is safe to use for every day when you have family visits or in other situations. It's also safe for horses. And then here's a list of herbs that you guys could consider. Let me make sure my screen's not being, that my face is not covering your screen. So we've got ashwagandha, bacopa, rhodiola, valerian, kava kava, catnip, chamomile, holy basil, oat straw, passion flower. St. John's wort is safe for dogs and cats, skullcap, and cannabis. And this is where I kind of want to turn it over to Peter, because I actually don't know hardly anything about cannabis. I am very awkward when it comes to the subject, and Peter is not. So Peter, do you want to talk about that right now?
Sure. I don't have any slides prepared, but I have some.
Hold on. Do you have sound?
Oh.
I am not hearing you for some reason.
Can anybody hear
Oops.
me?
Let me back up.
I
Hello?
hear you, Peter. Poppy doesn't hear me and she doesn't hear you.
Oh,
Because I've talked
I am
a few
still
times
not
and she
hearing you.
hasn't.
Let me
heard talking.
shut this
But you can
out
hear me, right?
and quit
I
the
can hear
screen
you.
share and see if that's
I
a
can hear
problem.
it.
Go ahead.
Poppy's not hearing you.
Can you hear me,
No,
Poppy?
Peter, you have no sound. What's going on?
No, it's you who doesn't.
Julie, you don't have sound either. Is it just me?
Right. Yes,
What's going on with me?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
This is
I
Debbie.
see. My computer flopped me to the okay.
Can you
hear? I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you guys,
Yay, finally. I
Awesome.
keep talking to you, but you don't hear me.
my microphone and my speaker when and so yes, I'm seeing all the chat too. Go ahead, you guys, let's talk about this before we move on. Sorry about that.
So cannabis, I want to make this really simple and from a perspective of another pet parent who, again, I'm not just like Poppy and Julie, I'm not a vet. but so the way I would want to explain this is, there's CBD and there's THC, and CBD is the anti-inflammatory. Most people know the initial CBD, and then there's THC, which is the psychoactive component that gives the high. The high is not bad, but it can certainly be overwhelming and upsetting when you're going through it, or you see your animal going through it, whether you did it accidentally or your dog got into something, like a discarded joint in the woods, or it ate your edibles off the countertop or whatever. It's upsetting. It's not an emergency. I mean, it can be, but it is definitely something that you want to do carefully and responsibly. So the two products I would recommend from King Harvest, the company that I work for, that would be appropriate for the 4th of July or anxiety or fear in general, there's two. So Synergy PM, this is the bottle. Synergy PM, it is 1-to-1. So it's got 50% CBD and 50% THC. And it comes in 3 different potencies. So 300 milligram, 600, 900. So if it's 1-to-1 and 300 milligrams, that means it's 150 milligrams CBD and 150 milligrams THC. And the reason why it says P, and that's why we call it Synergy. And the PM means it's got the type of THC is indica, INDICA. Indica is the more sedating, relaxing, euphoric, feel good. I wouldn't want to say euphoric because the other type of THC is also euphoric, but indica is more of a typically a sedative. It's gonna, like your pharmaceuticals like gabapentin, which also are, have been used for sedating an animal during times of severe stress, like the 4th. So Synergy PM is great. CBD can mitigate the high of THC. And when you have an event like the 4th of July, or let's just say thunderstorms as well, and your dog is really, really, really freaked out or anxious or upset and panicking, like Allie used to just like, she wouldn't know how to lay down comfortably. She would get off her bed, come off my bed. She'd want to go go into the corner and just pant, hyperventilate. And you literally thought she's going to have a heart attack. And I think that no matter what you end up using to calm your animal down, there's so many options. It's important to not leave your animal in that state, because I think when you have that kind of insane cortisol response, that it can do cause a lot of other issues as well from that, time after time. So the Synergy PM is great because it has the health benefits of the CBD and the anti-anxiety and the sedative and calming effects of the indica THC. So it's going to be a great product to calm your dog down, but not be super overwhelming in terms of the high, because of the CBD portion mitigating some of that euphoria, which is great. But if you have a dog with severe stress and anxiety, then using a bottle called Unwind, which is 100% indica THC, that may be more beneficial. Sometimes you want that euphoria where the animal like mentally can't work themselves up. Allie would be aware that the 4th was going on or that the thunderstorms were happening, and she would still be in the laundry room where it was a smaller area, dark, small area, and really safer to her. That was her safe area that she'd retreat to. And I'd make sure her bed was in there and it was comfortable. I'd turn the lights off, shut the shades, put on some white noise and whatever, and just try to drown out the sound more. But she would be a little bit euphoric, and that would help her where she wouldn't be able to work herself up mentally, where she'd be hyperventilating and panicking, and her chest would be pounding out of her chest, heart be pounding out of her chest. So that was why I liked using the THC for her only when we had the fireworks, the indica only. I found that the CBD, to almost offset some of the high too much. And I really wanted that for her. But I didn't want to overwhelm her and make her more anxious or paranoid or, and cause her to be overwhelmed or freak out. Right. So that's the balance. That's where working with a reputable company and working with somebody to help you adjust the dose, before the event, to help you get used to it, help your animal figure out, how they're going to respond and learn, before the fireworks happen, almost like you're studying for the test. So that way you know how your animal responds to it and what dose works. And it's likely you'll have to significantly increase the dose when the fireworks happen, because every, for example, the fireworks may be more stressful than a thunderstorm or something else, like a handyman coming in or some event that causes your dog stress, like the vet or a car ride, right? The fireworks might be the biggest stressor of all. So you may have to, give a little bit more medicine. And personally, I'm fine with my dog being a little bit more loopy or out of it, because that's what you would be wanting to go for probably with the pharmaceuticals anyway, is to sedate them. And I'm not against that, but this is holistic talk. So the THC, the cannabis, is a natural plant. So that's kind of in a nutshell what cannabis can do for anxiety and in relation to the 4th of July in particular.
Peter, what are the symptoms of overdosing? Like how would,
yeah.
I wouldn't know what to look at because I don't mess with it really. So
right. That's a good question. And a lot of people ask me that a lot too. And people come to me or King Harvest and, and they have maybe had a bad experience themselves. Or their dog did, because they got too much and they were winging it, and they don't want that to happen again. Totally understandable. It's very upsetting to watch. It takes about an hour to 90 minutes for the oil to kick in, and the effects can last 4 to 6 hours. And depending on the dose, the animal, just like us as well, can experience a half-life. So there can be a lingering residual high even after that 4 to 6 hours has passed. It really depends on the amount that you gave the dog. So for a person that has had too much THC, or maybe not, they've never dabbled in cannabis before, and they want to know what too much THC or cannabis for the dog looks like, for me, it's like the room is spinning, and that dogs can experience the same thing. The room can be spinny. It can make them nauseous. It can make them want to puke. It can make them wet themselves. It can make them anxious and paranoid. It can, and that can mean like them shaking, or if you want to pet them to try to soothe them, they might act like you're going to hit them. And, unfortunately, there's really not much you can do to calm them down in that moment. They just have to sleep it off. It's happened to me a few times with Tucker, once with Tucker, a couple of times with Allie, not the end of the world. But, you ideally don't want that to happen. And sometimes I think it is a good learning experience to, that you see that, okay, nothing physically dangerous happened, provided your cannabis is clean and it's properly made. Like if your dog got a joint in the woods that somebody threw in there that were smoking in the woods, it might have some chemicals in there. You don't know how it was made or extracted or things like that. And so that's where things can get, fuzzy, is that your dog may be super stoned and out of it and like just completely not moving. And that, to me, like, I would want to bring the dog to the vet for that, and they'd probably need fluids to, get them to sober up quicker, and having the emergency room, like, keep an 24-hour watch on them to make sure that they don't choke on their vomit or something like that. If that happens, that's happened one time in my 5 years with King Harvest, because they left their dog with a dog sitter, not 4th of July. And the dog sitter gave the little dog, like 700 milligrams of CBD and THC. And it was 75% THC. And the dog was just completely out of it. And the dog did have to go to the emergency room, but the dog was fine afterwards. Just needed some help. And I said, you know what, you're going to be panicking. You're not going to be able to sleep anyway. For peace of mind, take the dog to the emergency room. But when you microdose, drop by drop by drop by drop, and you do it responsibly, and you work with a reputable company, then the chances of that happening are extremely, extremely slim, because what you're giving is clean and high quality, and you're working with somebody who's done this with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dogs. So being high is not bad. It's like a big spectrum. You can be just kind of like you have a glass of wine after a hard, stressful day, just to take the edge off, where you barely notice it, but you just feel more relaxed. That's what we want to achieve with the cannabis. But if there's a really stressful situation, you may need some more. And so that's where you have to kind of play around with it responsibly and microdose, so you don't overwhelm your dog. Like, I wouldn't go from 5 drops to 30. I wouldn't do that. So
right.
You have to be careful.
You can use activated charcoal if you overdose.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think every dog owner should have some activated charcoal on the shelf.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, Peter, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm personally allergic to cannabis, so I get asthma and my kidneys shut down and things like that. So I try to stay away from it. I just point everyone in Peter's direction, and I know there's amazing health benefits to it. It's just not my jam. So Julie, do you want to add anything into this before we jump back in this? I know
Not
I
really.
could see you trying to talk the whole time and I never do it.
It's okay. No, I'll jump in when we're talking about essential oils.
Awesome. All right, you guys. And there's some cool stuff in the chat too. So Lisa Marie is saying that she uses Hertz music on YouTube. That's very cool. And
What I was going to say earlier when you didn't hear me, Spotify actually has a dog playlist now.
yeah, that's what I heard. That's so cool. Do you use it?
No, because my dogs are fine. Gigi's totally cool with everything. The other thing you can do too in respect to music and things is Relaxapet has a little music, also training kind of set up and works on different sound waves and vibrations. And then you also have Pet Acoustic, which actually has all different kinds of doggy music.
That is so much fun. I should look into that. Rescue Remedy, you guys, Bach flowers, flower essences, once again, not quite my jam. I've had a little success with Rescue Remedy. Some people swear by it. I really honestly think that different modalities work differently with different people and dogs. What works for one dog might not work for another. What works for one practitioner, they might really understand it really well, might not work for another practitioner. I personally love the herbs and homeopathy. So I'm going to throw this over to you. Julie, do you want to talk more about flower essences?
I've actually not really worked much with flower essences. Basically, it's different than essential oils. With flower essences, it's the infusion. It's almost like, out of lack of better words, the steam and the essence of the flowers coming out that's captured. And each one has a different healing vibration, whereas essential oils, it's actually using part or all of the plant. So it's a different kind of distillation. So I've used Rescue Remedy, mostly when I do a no anesthesia teeth cleaning. And it works great, but that's pretty much the only flower essences I've used.
So I've used Rescue Remedy. Scaredy Cat is from Jackson Galaxy's company. So if your cat runs from every little noise or hides when the doorbell rings, then that's something you want to consider. Stress stopper, trip to the vet, thunder, lightning, fireworks, parties, vacuum lawnmower, machinery. Those are a great idea. Minulus, to help become more courageous, is a great remedy for cats too. So this is more cat-based remedies, but they would work on dogs also. And we're having a great conversation about the Whole Tones music on YouTube. So you guys, thank you for sharing that information. I really appreciate it. And here's how you dose flower essences. Rescue Remedy actually has five different active ingredients. And so I never thought it worked. I bought some Rescue Remedy candy as stocking stuffers for my nieces and nephews. And I had some leftover, chewed them, and realized it actually did work for me. I really knew it when I ran out of them. I was just like, oh my gosh, that actually worked great. So for dogs and cats, you can put it in their food, in their water, on their fur, in the pet area, and you can do 3 to 5 drops for applications. And then infoceuticals. Go ahead, Julie.
I believe we used a little tiny pill when she had her teeth cleaning. So I do think it comes in little tiny. It was really, really tiny from what I remember.
Yeah, and often they're in little alcohol-based tinctures. So I try to avoid alcohol. If alcohol bothers you, you can dilute it out, air it out, or even put a little warm water in it. Infoceuticals, I get them from a company called NES. And infoceuticals are liquid remedies of purified water that contain minute qualities of plant-derived microminerals. Each infoceutical is encoded with the information needed to help return the specific aspects of the body field to proper functioning. Chill is one of their products, and it encourages calm mental state and releasing of emotional and sensory data. ESR is the one that I have had some really nice results with, is emotional stress relief. And I've seen some really pretty cool things from ESR. And that is from a company called NES. You can find it online, and you can place the drops directly on your pet, usually in the hairless area, and rub it in. It seems to work great. So Julie, take it over on essential oils for me. I do not feel like I'm very qualified to talk about essential oils.
All right, so I've been trained as a certified animal aromatherapist by Dr. Janet Rourke. I've gone through 2 levels of her certification. I'm also a consultant for her, and I also trained under Melissa Shelton from Animalio many, many years ago. So I've had a lot of experience with animals and essential oils and use them for myself all the time. Probably the most important takeaway is you need to use pure therapeutic grade, animal safe. That's why I like Animalio, because, you know, Melissa's, you know, all about animals. Oils. There's a lot of bad raps out there about oils, and a lot of that is because there's a lot of bad oil out there, a lot of synthetics. Out of, you know, there's, if you took a big circle wedge, there's probably a little tiny triangle of it that is quality safe oils, and even smaller for dogs. There's a ton of synthetics out there. Even the food grade are just, you know, grass rated, which is generally regarded as safe, but doesn't mean they're safe. And the synthetic oils have herbicides, pesticides, Roundup, toxins, and who knows what else is in there. They may be cut with things. They're not purely distilled. There are a couple of companies that are the, you know, the big players, and they third-party test, and, you know, it's all about quality. And because they're so safe, you can not only just use them topically and diffuse, you could also ingest them. And there are certain oils that you can let pets ingest. I don't do a lot of that. I feel safer myself just diffusing and topical. But there are safe ways of using oils around pets. One is diffusing. A water-based diffuser is better because it kind of softens it. You always have to give it an escape route, especially with cats. So, you know, for fireworks, it's a hit or miss whether you can diffuse. If you put them in a safe room that is a really big room and there's a lot of room for them to move around, it's probably a good place to diffuse. However, if it's a small room, you don't want to do that because they're not going to be able to get out and get away from it if they feel they need to. So there are other ways around that. You can mist the room with a water spray, you know, with a few drops of essential oil in it. You can take cotton balls and put like a little drop on it and put it by an air vent. You can do the same thing in your car. Or if you have a crate, you can put it on the crate, but just not right near them. So it'll give them the same benefit, but just not as strong or powerful. You can use oils topically. It's actually better to dilute than not. It makes it a little bit easier on yourself and the animals, but it also keeps it last a little bit longer as well. You dilute usually with fractionated coconut oil, almond oil, jojoba, and a whole bunch of others. And then you can, as I said, ingest, but I don't do a whole lot of that. Probably the key takeaway with essential oils is you want to learn how to use them properly and which ones are safe, not only brand wise, but the actual oils. Less is always best. You know, people think they could pour. No, 1 drop usually is enough, especially on a small dog. You know, bigger dog, 2 or 3. You probably don't go much more than that. Again, like I said, dilute, and there's certain ratios that you can learn about diluting. The big companies like doTERRA and Young Living are now doing pre-made roller bottles diluted, which work. The other big takeaway is oil and water don't mix. So let's say you put oil on and it's too hot. You don't want to, your instinct is go cut it with water. That'll intensify it. You want to cut it with oil. And if you have to grab, you know, olive oil from the kitchen cabinet, go use that. I mean, when I've been in a desperation situation, taken even hand lotion. It's not the best thing, but you know, it still dilutes it because it's oil. And the most important thing when it's stressful time is always put oils on yourself too, because you're a walking diffuser. If you put it on you, your animals are going to sweat. There are some single oils, you know, lavender is a go-to, but not every dog loves lavender. Aroma chamomile, as you mentioned. There's frankincense, vetiver, cedarwood. They're all calming oils. There are a couple of blends. Young Living has peace and calming. doTERRA has adaptive, serenity, and a few others. Melissa has, Animalio has chamomile, or what is it, chamomile? Something like that. And they're all good. With her oil, she has a straight oil and she's a ready to use or use, which is RTU. The ready to use you could just put on. It's already cut with fractionated coconut oil, but you don't want to use that in a diffuser. It will clog your diffuser.
Oh,
But you know, the key also with animals, you do self-selection. Hold 3 or 4 of them if you have them up to the animal one at a time, top on, and let them sniff it. If they like it, they'll maybe lean into it or they'll stay there. If they don't like it, they'll pull away. And if they really don't like it, they'll run. I know with my dog, when I first used it, she was like, uh-oh. And now if I take out a bottle, she runs over and she sits there and waits for me to put it on. And I usually rub it, I put a drop in my hand, rub it together, and I do my neck first. And she like leans into me because she wants me to rub her neck. So it's great. And they get used to it and they learn more and more. If anyone has any questions or wants to learn more, reach out to me.
absolutely. You guys, thank you, Julie. That was awesome. The cotton ball approach, do you put oil in the cotton ball or are you doing pure oil?
Yeah, I usually put regular oil and then you could just, and it doesn't even have to be a cotton ball. You could do a little piece of fabric. They make for dog collars, little Velcro things you could put on the collar. The problem, what I don't like about those, I mean, I've done it. I usually put it on the harness because you don't want it right under their nose. They have no escape route again. So if you put it on the collar and the collar spins around and that little, collar diffuser goes into their face, now they're sniffing, and they're not happy. And again, you have to remember the dog's, senses are much more escalated, especially their nose. That's their, main way of, discerning everything. So I like to do it on the harness because then they're still getting the effect, but it's not smacking their face. But you can just put a little piece of cotton ball, fabric, burlap, pretty much anything.
I love that.
And if anybody wants, I'm teaching an essential oil class for animals. Poppy has the information, or you can reach out to me direct. And I'd love to have you join me.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. And then there's pheromone products out on the market. You can actually buy them on Amazon and they mimic the natural pheromones in an effort to relieve anxiety in the pets. Often they use pheromones from the mom, like this mothering, comforting type of pheromone. So it makes the dog and the cat feel like they're being mothered. The pheromone products are available for both dogs and cats. They come in various forms, including diffusers, sprays, wipes, and collars.
They also make little animals with heartbeats in them. They used to, I think they still do, that you can put next to them so they feel like they're with their mother.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So it just has this heartbeat type, almost like a little
vibration in it. And they make them specifically for dogs, and you put it in the bed with them and they think they're with their mother.
That is so sweet.
Even the little animals that are more decorative, they had those little dogs for a while that look like real dogs you put on your chair. They actually could purr if it was a cat, or have like a humming sound if it was a dog. And even that vibration is enough to make the dog to feel like it's got its mom nearby.
That's
pretty cool. Works great.
So your dog's stuffed animal. That's so adorable. So these are some products on Amazon, and this like Thunder Ease had maybe 2,000 reviews and at least a 4-star rating. So that's hard to downplay. That's pretty stout field study on that. So most of the research that's been published or presented at veterinarian conferences have been done on a product called Feel Away. which is a cat pheromone, and DAP, dog appeasing pheromone. In several studies, most which were funded by those companies, the products were found to help soothe stressed pets in some circumstances. So you probably have time to order an Amazon Prime if you want to try something like that. Peter, I wanted to ask you how fast, if somebody wanted to get cannabis from you, how fast can you get it for them? Are we too late?
Yeah, I don't think it'd make it in time for July 4th is what, Monday?
Monday.
That's yeah, that's why I wanted to do this today. Just in case people needed to run out. What would be a good option for people if they can't get that from you?
Well, I think going, lots of pet stores, the smaller boutique independent pet stores will have CBD. So checking out what they have. I've seen some people have success with a good quality hemp CBD. A lot don't, and a lot do. So I think it's all about the quality. I really like CBD dog health. And you could look at other products. Like there's a product that Dr. Chris Besant makes for her company, Herbsmith. It's called the July 3rd or 3rd of July, and it's their herbal chews. Just take a look at what's out there. Rita Hogan, Farm Dog Naturals, has a herbal tincture called Relax. You could try. I don't know if you can get them. Like some of the pet store down the road from me carries both of those. So maybe a local store near somebody watching has something similar. Maybe you can spring for expedited shipping for a product, or like you said, Amazon. I think there's all sorts of things you can try.
Absolutely.
A lot of
Go
smaller
ahead.
stores have at least one of those, or flower. Well, you can get Bach flower essences on Amazon, and your real Bach flower. You can get homeopath on there. Dr. Judy ships quick, and she has CBD dog health. Angela was saying she could ship out as of yesterday to get it there before the 3rd. I don't know if she still can. But I think a lot of boutique shops have something. It's either a CBD of some sort, a quality one, or they have a homeopath.
Excellent. Now, Peter, you actually, so talking about equipment, the Thundershirt headphones, earplugs. I've tried the Thundershirt, haven't had any success with it. I know some people have, but I personally haven't. Peter, you've tried headphones. You've tried the expensive headphones.
Yeah. These are called Ponix, PAWNIX.
I'm gonna spotlight you here so people can actually see what you got.
So this is the front. So you flip it over the dog's head, and it comes in various sizes. And these are the ears, but this is where the noise canceling piece are in this area up here, and on the other side too. And so you can sync it to your phone, and you can play music like white noise. You can play tunes. You can whatever, or you don't have to do it at all. You can just put it on your dog, and sometimes that can be calming and can block out some of the noise as well. I had luck with the 4th of July with this for Allie, but it didn't so much work for her for the thunderstorms. I don't know if that's because there's something in the air that the animals pick up on that this wasn't going to cover, but this worked very well for fireworks for her. I wanted to try something different that wasn't going to sedate her, in case, because the fireworks here anyway are so sporadic, and they're not like all week long. They can be all week long, but they don't happen all day and all night. Sometimes neighbors set them off randomly, and so that's why I wanted to try something like this, and it really helped her. I don't remember what these cost or what they went for, but I know they were several $100s, and they, it was worth it for the for one day. I don't know, but it was a success. So it was worth it for me. So, I haven't tried a long Tucker yet. I haven't had a 4th with him, but I have them, and I might see tonight since it's out if he's going to fit them, and I might have it on hand for him or Shadow. We'll
That's
see.
amazing that you can Bluetooth your music through there. That's pretty cool, and it's cheaper than going to the ER.
Yes, absolutely.
So absolutely. If you have
reason,
go ahead, Julie.
I think the reason it doesn't work with storms is a lot of it is barometric pressure and there's body shifts. So they feel that energy and the vibration in their body, they feel the storm more so than hear the storm until it's right on top of them, but they could sense it like days before almost.
Yep.
And I mean, we get that body shift. Back to the thunder shirt for a second. If you don't have a thunder shirt, you can take an ace bandage, just regular old ace bandage, and there are ways of wrapping it. T-Touch also shows you how to do that. Linda Tellington Jones, or even just swaddling a blanket. I mean, the key is to hug their body because it reminds them like a baby being swaddled. You know, it hugs them. They feel like they have a hug, so they feel safe and secure. And that's the whole premise behind the thunder shirt.
Right. I love that. I love that idea of like an ace bandage. That's so smart. That makes a lot of sense actually, because I think that sometimes the thunder shirt doesn't, like, I know it has Velcro and you can tighten it. I like that it's kind of lightweight because I feel like sometimes the dogs get really, really hot when they're upset. And so I don't want to make them
That's the other thing.
even hotter. So the ace bandage might be a really cool hack on that. Julie.
Go over the top. I recall you go over the top, cross it in the front, then down behind the legs, cross it over the top, and then back up and tie a bow. Something you could probably Google it and find out.
Yeah, plus it might distract them having all these things all over their body and they're like, wait, what is happening here? So they might be thinking about that. Kim wanted to ask you a question, Julie. She's been trying to let her dog self-select with several Animal EO products. And after she smells the oils that she offers, she starts rubbing her body on the carpet. She doesn't know if that's a positive or a negative.
Good question. Does she run away or does she do it right in front of you?
Okay, so Kim, you need to put that in the chat. Is your dog like backing off the oil or is your dog getting all smitten with it? It sounds like she might be getting kind of smitten with it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
I mean, Gigi with me, she was funny at the beginning. She'd come up and then she'd be like, no, and then she'd come back again. And now it's like she's throwing her body at me. If I don't like get it on her fast enough, she's like climbing up my shoulder.
That's so fascinating. And then Maria wanted to ask Peter a question is, have you ever heard of a product called Lola hemp?
It sounds familiar.
You're like,
There's
okay.
so many CBD companies out there. There's a lot of them. It does sound vaguely familiar.
Okay, but no input on that. Not that it's productive or not productive. So no comment there. And Kim says right in front of her. So it doesn't run away, just presents itself.
I think it probably likes it and is excited about it. You should take maybe one tiny little drop. If it's an RTU, keep it as is. If not, maybe put some fractionated coconut oil. Rub your hands together and then hold them like this and let the dog snip. And then here, I happen to have a stuffed animal here from class. I always just lightly fingertip down. I don't really pet hard the first time and I just do a little bit and leave it. Second time I do it, I go again from a distance, like not on top of their nose, like a good distance. Next time I might go a little bit further. And if they're really cool, the third time I'm petting. You do that over a few different days. It's always good to go from the head down and out. This one doesn't have a tail. Down the tail, because that's the bladder meridian and that's your main meridian down your back. Your meridians are your energy channels in your body, like your highways in your body in Chinese medicine. And all the organs are attached by meridians to the bladder meridian. So all your organs are attached when you're swiping. You're getting some kind of benefit to each of them.
Okay, and then thank you for that. Jacqueline is asking about any opinion about through a dog's ear. What is that, you guys? Do you know what that is? Have you heard of that? It's CBD.
It's a CD. It's music.
Oh, it's music. Got it. Okay, I don't know anything about that. Peter, have you used that?
I've never used it. Not that I wouldn't. I've always just used white noise or, random music or the TV. Shut the shades. But if you have it, I think that's an excellent thing to put on.
Okay, and Maria's saying it's hemp oil, the Lola hemp. So hemp's not quite as powerful.
Right.
It really, again, good quality, there's a place for good quality hemp. And I think that there's so many brands and companies out there. You just got to do your due diligence and research it and make sure that, is it working for your dog? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It doesn't mean that another brand or company is not going to give you better results. But if it works for your dog, it works for your dog. Just make sure it's quality and, ask for third-party labs, and the company is transparent about how it's made and works with you on dosing and all that stuff. That's really important.
So Peter, for 4th of July type situation, do you think hemp can actually help?
I've seen it have a sedative effect on dogs and certain animals. So I think it just all comes down to the individual product and that individual animal as well.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying that. I kind of always felt like hemp was a bust if you were going to use it for high stress type situations, more like a nutritional product.
Yeah. I mean, more often than not, I haven't seen much good results with it, but like I said, there's so many products out there that I just haven't had personal experience using them. So I don't want to discount them, and I don't want to make anybody feel bad for their choices and say like mine's the best and what you have is crap. But because I truly don't know, how it is. And so I think all you can do is try it. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and you go into something else.
Okay. Have you guys? Go ahead, Julie.
One thing I want to say, as we're talking about all these different modalities and things that you could do, the homeopathic, the flower essence, the essential oils, the CBD, people can get overzealous. You need to be smart. One thing, and don't just pile it on, on the 4th of July. Test it slowly. Maybe try over, now we can't do it, but going forward, try it over a period of time. Stay with one, see how it works, then maybe try another. But don't layer them all on top of each other. You're going to just put your dog out in the ozone, maybe make them sick, and you may end up at the ER.
Well, in homeopathy and essential oils don't quite go hand in hand. Often essential oils will antidote the homeopathic remedy. So you're almost better off trying the essential oil first, and it's already on the pet. So when you get the homeopathic remedy, then it's going with that vibration of the pet already wearing that essential oil. So the antidoting factor, I don't think is quite as extreme. But yes.
But you just don't pile a million different things on at once that are all new to the pet. Do it over time. Try it out. I mean, you don't have the time right now. We have less than a week, but going forward, but you can still keep doing it because it's good. All these products are good year round. It's not just for storms.
Exactly. And horses, we actually use earplugs in horses, show horses and race horses, things like that. They do make earplugs for dogs and cats. I've never used them. I don't know how they work. So if you have, put it in the chat. I'd love to know what your experience was with the earplugs. So moving on.
One other thing for calming, I was showing you the bladder sweeps. Those are really, really, really calming for dogs. You start at the head and you just go right out the tail. And you can also come down and go down the leg and then down the other side. If you do 3 on straight down, 3 on each leg, it's a very calming technique. So it's something to do, and you're doing it anyway. You're just petting your dog, basically.
Right. I actually call that swiping, where you start at the stop of the nose. Is that where you start?
Usually I start at the top of the head, but
Okay.
there's also with the top front, starting at the top of the nose, there's also grounding techniques. Can you see me? Because I only see you.
Yeah.
Okay. This is for humans. You take your 2 fingers, you put them on your forehead in the middle, and you swipe 8 times really lightly to the right, from right to left, and that grounds you. You could do the same thing on your dog. And it kind of puts you back in your body, puts your feet back in the ground, into the earth, and grounds you. And it's just really easy all during the day. If you just start doing it. Put oils on your
That's
finger.
why people rub their head, right? Yeah.
And also have a lot of ting points and things in your ears with acupressure. So a lot of times if you're stressed or have a headache, if you play with the ears, it works. And on dogs, usually how I do it is fingers by the ears, and then in the middle, that's also a really relaxing point for them. I do that a lot with that.
Muscles. I've actually stopped seizures in dogs by pushing right here, right at the base of their snout to where their face comes up.
And that's the alarm point or the emergency point. That's really good for seizures too. And also actually in the back of the neck, there's a little divot, and that's like a big seizure point too.
Very cool. Yeah, I've used that, the stop of the nose with the back of the neck at the same time, and popped dogs right out of seizures. So that, cool. Thank you, Julie. Thank you for adding that. And we're almost done, you guys. Whoops. We're almost done. I'm so sorry that my tech was a little sketch today. And so don't discount using drugs. It's so you have to weigh your odds. I'm not like excited about using drugs, but using drugs is probably better than having your dog jump out the window or break down the door. So if you feel like your dog's behavior could be life-threatening, could be harmful, stressful to everyone, you can definitely get a prescription from your veterinarian just to have on hand. This is actually my dog, and she gave me this just in case. Last year, I got him right before 4th of July. He was noise reactive and super sensitive. I live out in the country though, so I didn't know if there was going to be anything. And she actually pushed it on me. And she was like, here, take this. I'm like, I don't really want it, but she's like, just better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, which is probably wise. And you can always detox the drug. You can always shove charcoal down them, bentonite clay, use homeopathy to purge out the medication. And so let's say that your animal already is ramping up and out of his mind. You can use arnica. It's for emotional and physical trauma. Ignacia bentonite clay is actually really lovely. It flushes out the adrenaline, the cortisol, the lactic acid. And I love a product called DMG, which is dimethylglycine. And you want to get the dog and cat form if you're going to use it. It detoxes and rehabs, it recovers. I use it in dogs that have seizures, post-seizure. This is kind of my post-seizure protocol for seizuring dogs, just to have them recover. And then there's other homeopathic remedies like stramonium, things like that. So when they're overheating and they're just out of their mind, it can probably calm them down and get them back to sensible. And remember,
Something to realize, after fireworks, it takes a dog minimally an hour to de-stress from them. I really, even 2 to 3 hours to decompress. Even though you don't see the booms or hear it, they're still, the body's still in that fight or flight, adrenaline rush, hormone rush, and it's hard. I mean, with lost animals, it's a very similar kind of thing. Once they get out in the wild, they're lost, their adrenaline pumps up. You could be standing in front of them, you could be the best pet parent, you could have the best relationship, they won't even know who you are. They will come to you, they won't have anything to do with you because they're just so out of body, so out of mind. And that's what happens when they start hearing the booms on the fireworks, same thing.
exactly. So mindset matters, your stress level matters. So keep calm and carry on. There's been numerous recent studies to study this on dogs and cats, and a cat study interviewed 3,000 cat owners in the UK, and they found that the animal owners, that when they had stress, the cats actually started doing stress behavioral reactions and problems. So being calm yourself is really important. Dogs also, they did a test on, and they can smell whether or not people are in distress. They actually played scary movies, and the dogs would respond to the scary movie from the owner watching it. So they are that sensitive. It wasn't even a legitimate stress. So you guys be very, very careful. If you are starting to ramp up, you need to go somewhere else, do whatever you need to do, because you could be a little bit of a burden on your dog and your cat, and talk yourself down somehow.
What's really important, they do mirror everything that you do. So if you come home at the end of the day, you leave your worries out the door. Calm yourself down before you walk in. If you have a bad phone call, go in a room and de-stress. But when it comes to fireworks and storms, if you start thinking like, oh my God, July 4th is coming, the fireworks, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Well, the dog reads what you're saying. So the dog's saying, oh my God, mom's really stressed out about the fireworks. I better ramp it up even higher than she is, and I'm panicked. You wanna change the whole picture, change the paradigm. Wow, fireworks, this is a great day. We're gonna sit in front of the TV, we're gonna have some popcorn and a glass of wine and chill. And the dog's gonna be like, oh, this isn't a problem, everything's good. So you have to kind of shift your thought process. Can't hear you. Poppy.
Thanks, guys. So here's a clinical trial that they did in 2020 about the effectiveness of treatments, different treatments of fireworks. And so they took all these dogs and they used drugs and non-drug applications, and the success rate, let's see, with prescription medication, improvements were noted. 69% of the owners with high success rate reported for the most frequently prescribed drugs, alprazolam and Celio. 91% for alprazolam, 74% with Celio. Although individual products were not evaluated, the report success rates for the categories of pheromones was 361, and herbal products were 282, nutraceuticals, which is supplements, 211, essential oils, 183, homeopathic remedies, 205, Bach flowers, 281, and we're all in the range of 27 to 35%, which is not higher than would be expected based on the placebo effect. So pressure vests were deemed as effective, 44%, a respondent of 300, and just look at the numbers in regards to where they're rated. Counter conditioning regarding training, 609 or 694 was the reported effectiveness of 70%. Relaxation training, 433, which is 69%, whereas noise CDs was 377, 55%. So 50% of the animals responded to that. Counter conditioning training, relaxation, and I don't even know what that word is. Medications appear to be the most effective strategies to this clinical trial. So I just thought it was interesting that they actually did a trial on that, and those were the results. And this is the link. And so you can read that study too. And like I said, I will put these slides in the membership or in the Facebook page. So there's no way one product, if your animal's already on a sensitive level, is going to handle this potential threat. You will need to accumulate an arsenal if your animal's already reactive and start applying before any fireworks. And I want to thank you guys for watching today. And if you know any other pet management hacks that we did not discuss today, please comment in the chat thread. We would love to hear about it. Sharing is caring. We want all of you to have a happy and safe 4th of July. If you want to follow me more, here's some links. Holistic Animal Insights is my company Facebook page. My Instagram's Holistic Animal Insights. My YouTube is Poppy Phillips. I have a paid membership, and my email and my website are in there. Julie Jacobs, you can look her up at positive-solutions.com. and Rainbow Tales with a Z on the end.com. And if you need to talk to Peter, hop over to Allie's crew and he would be more than happy to talk to you guys. So that is it. Looks like Peter bounced on us. And and so there are some chats. Thank you, Maria. So Kim wants to know what homeopathic remedies should she start with. She's terrified. So Kim, I'm going to say you need it too. And so let's get your fear out of you. You're in the membership, you know how to look things up in the Materia Medica, so try to pick the best one. Is your dog noise sensitive, emotionally jacked up, normally jacked up? So there's a lot of questions we want to ask on that. I love phosphorus, you guys, but phosphorus can pull medication. So I would just really want to give you an FYI. I use it post-surgery to pop them out of their sedation. So if you're using drugs and phosphorus, you might be counterproductive on that.
Homeopath, I think, actually has a product called Fireworks. I'm looking it up right now.
The problem, so Dr. Karen talked about this, is the problem with some of these gunshot method homeopathic. So these are homeopathic over the counter that they sell at like PetSmart, stuff like that. And there's a bunch of products in it, and it actually might antidote each other, overlapping them. So single remedies is kind of my thing, but if you're overwhelmed by homeopathy, you could try a broad multi-product, like many remedies in one product, and see if that really works for you. And so hopefully that answered your question. And the bentonite clay I get at Star West. So Star West Botanicals, I call them 1-800-800-HERB, but you can also find it on Amazon, and you would mix it with water. Don't feed it dry, and just, you can put it in their water bowl as long as their water bowl is not metal. It's a heavy metal detoxifier, so you do not want to use metal with the bentonite. Mix it up in water, pour it over the food, or leave it in a water bowl that's not metal based. I use a lot of Pyrex for my dog bowls, and phosphorus or aconite. So if you're not going to use drugs, start with the phosphorus now and see how it rolls. Aconite's great. Stram's great for panic attacks. So stramonium, check it out. Kim, let me know what you think. And you guys, like I said, I'll put this video recording in YouTube. It's a little rough. It didn't go as smooth as I hoped today, but it is what it is. And so if you want to share it with friends, feel free to do so. And plus I'll put the slides in on the Facebook page. So Julie, any parting words before we sign off today?
Just be careful what you think, because thoughts become things. And if you start thinking bad, they're going to, feed off of that and energize themselves and get themselves stirred up. Just think positive, be calm, be yourself calm, take care of yourself first. And then, in any household, there's a lot of individual energies, but it's all melts together to one big, morphic resonance, one energy of the house. And you want to keep that whole thing at a level plateau so that the animals are also level too.
And if worst comes to worst, go out of town where they have a no firework policy, like my town. They're
Lucky.
Friends coming over for 4th of July that have PTSD. They were in Desert Storm, and my house is a safe house. So try to, if it's going to be a stressful concern and ruin possibly your life and your dog's life, get out, go somewhere fun where there's no stuff going on. Of course, there's always a few people camping that might be lighting something, but it's a fire hazard and they shouldn't be. So you guys,
one thing is, if you have guests over, I know you touched on this, the dog should be put in the safe room with the door shut. But that doesn't mean the guests aren't going to open up the door and say, hey, look at little Fluffy, I want to go say hello. You open the door just a crack and they're going to bolt. So you need to have a sign on the door. If you can lock it, awesome. If you can't lock it, put a chair, a piece of furniture in front of it with the sign, because people are tempted to open it and the dogs would be panic pacing in there, and all of a sudden, boom, gone, and nobody's going to even know the dog's gone.
All right, Julie, thank you for that parting word. You guys have a great evening. Happy 4th of July to you. And we will be back live on this page July 21st with Dr. Connor Brady. So Dr. Connor Brady is going to hop on, and we're going to have a special event with him July 21st. All right, take care.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye. I'm like reading chats and forgetting to hang up.